prestasi. Tahukah kamu kekurangan gizi itu tak baik,
Katanya akan kok ibu pe laptop, ibu sekolah
mudah terserang berbagai macam penyakit. Protein, karbohidrat, vitamin, mineral melengkapi gizi keluarga kita. Jagalah lingkungan bersih, aman dan sehat untuk kita semua. Ayo kita makan yang beragam, membiasakan perilaku hidup sehat, berolahraga, jaga berat badan, itulah 4 pilar gizi seimbang. Dan satu sehat berprestasi. Ya ayo kita makan yang beragam, membiasakan perilaku hidup sehat, rajin berolahraga, jaga berat badan, itulah 4 pilar gizi seimbang. Dan satu sehat berprestasi. Dan satu sehat berprestasi. semua kita bangun pagi-pagi, minum air putih 8 gelas sehari, pakai sepatumu, mari olahraga, lari bersepeda atau lainnya. Atur makananmu untuk sehari-hari, batasi minyak, garam, gula, jangan berlebihan, dan jangan lupa timbang berat badanmu. Ayo kawan semua kita terapkan gizi seimbang, badan sehat, pikiran cerdas, perilaku mandiri. Gizi seimbang, produktif, kreatif, serta bangsa sehat berprestasi. Atur makananmu untuk sehari-hari, batasi minyak, garam, gula, jangan berlebihan, dan jangan
Lahir dengan semangat mengisi kemerdekaan, Universitas Pembangunan Nasional Veteran Jakarta sejak awal berkomitmen memajukan bangsa melalui pendidikan. UPN Veteran Jakarta mengukuhkan diri sebagai kampus bela negara yang merupakan identitas tak terpisahkan sejak kampus ini berdiri tahun 1958 hingga mencapai status universitas negeri pada tahun 2014. Sejak itu, transformasi terus bergulir.
UPN Veteran Jakarta sebagai PTN adalah merupakan akhir dari proses panjang tentang kejelasan status. Dengan menjadi PTN, maka ada kepastian tentang status tersebut. Dan selanjutnya, yang terpenting saat ini adalah bagaimana UPN Veteran Jakarta mampu untuk sejajar dengan PTN-PTN lainnya. Dan tentu saja yang terutama adalah bagaimana UPN Veteran Jakarta dapat memberikan kontribusi dan pencapaian program pemerintah, khususnya di dalam pendidikan tinggi. Dalam hal ini adalah program dari Kemendikbud.
Bela negara menjadi rujukan dalam penyusunan kurikulum dan mewujudkan visi UPN Veteran Jakarta, yaitu menuju perguruan tinggi berbadan hukum, inovatif, berdaya saing yang beridentitas bela negara tahun 2025.
dalam rangka mentransformasi UPN Veteran Jakarta menjadi PTN yang unggul dan berdaya saing di tingkat nasional, kerjasama menjadi faktor yang sangat penting bagi kita. Kita selama 4 tahun terakhir itu selalu masuk dalam posisi 10 besar. Jadi kualitas mahasiswa yang masuk di UPN ini mahasiswa yang cerdas dan sangat cerdas. Jadi secara keseluruhan upaya peningkatan kualitas pembelajaran kita lakukan secara sistematik, mulai dari kultur akademik, kemudian desain kurikulumnya, sampai peningkatan kualitas SDM kita hingga sarana prasarana pembelajaran.
Didukung dosen dan tenaga kependidikan yang handal, UPN Veteran Jakarta siap menjadikan setiap lulusannya mumpuni dalam 7 fakultas yang tersedia. Fakultas Ilmu Sosial dan Ilmu Politik, Fakultas Hukum, Fakultas Ilmu Komputer, Fakultas Kedokteran, Fakultas Teknik, Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan, serta Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis. Sementara untuk menunjang kegiatan akademik, UPN Veteran Jakarta menyediakan pusat bahasa atau Labimkar, LBH atau hukum, sarana ibadah, poliklinik, laboratorium teknik, laboratorium kedokteran, laboratorium stem cell, laboratorium penunjang lainnya, perpustakaan, sarana olahraga, dan keamanan.
Di dalam mendukung daya saing para mahasiswa di dalam menempuh proses belajar mengajar di UPN Veteran Jakarta, UPN Veteran Jakarta telah memiliki beberapa sarana prasarana yang dapat digunakan sebagai salah satu peningkatan daya saing. Antara lain adalah perpustakaan yang sudah online, ya, berbasis dengan digital 4.0, di mana para mahasiswa saat ini bisa memperoleh referensi melalui online, jurnal-jurnal melalui online. Demikian juga sarana prasarana pendukung, kita memiliki Mass Classroom. Di sini digunakan Mass Classroom ini adalah suatu kelas yang dapat dilaksanakan kuliah secara bersamaan dengan teknologi yang canggih, di mana para mahasiswa dapat mengikuti dan para mahasiswa secara langsung dapat berinteraksi dari tenaga pengajarnya yang ada di satu tempat. Ya, sarana ini ada di kampus Pondok Labu maupun di kampus Limo.
Berbagai kerjasama dengan lintas pihak terus dilakukan untuk meningkatkan kualitas pendidikan dan meningkatkan lulusan pada kerja nyata. Sementara untuk meningkatkan kapasitas non-akademik, mahasiswa difasilitasi 25 unit kegiatan mahasiswa yang dapat dipilih sesuai minat.
Program yang kita terapkan di UPN Veteran Jakarta kepada mahasiswa pada dasarnya adalah peningkatan kualitas kegiatan kemahasiswaan. yang nantinya akan meningkatkan rasa cinta kepada tanah air, rela berkorban demi nusa dan bangsa, dan juga berjiwa bela negara. Peningkatan rasa cinta tanah air itu diwujudkan dalam kegiatan kemahasiswaan yang sungguh-sungguh, kemudian mencapai prestasi yang tinggi baik tingkat nasional dan juga internasional.
Berbagai kelengkapan sarana hingga prasarana tersebut telah menjadikan UPN Veteran Jakarta sebagai kampus rujukan generasi cinta negara. Tingkat kepercayaan di kalangan calon mahasiswa terus tumbuh. Animo pelajar untuk berkuliah di UPN Veteran Jakarta terus meningkat. Hal ini dapat dilihat dari masuknya 2 program studi UPN Veteran Jakarta dalam 10 prodi sosial dan humaniora dengan peminat terbanyak di Indonesia. Program studi ilmu komunikasi menempati urutan kedua dengan peminat sebanyak 2.981 calon-calon mahasiswa. Sementara program studi manajemen berada di urutan ketujuh dengan peminat 2.532 calon mahasiswa. Selain itu, nilai rata-rata calon mahasiswa yang masuk ke UPN Veteran Jakarta untuk program studi sains dan teknologi berada di urutan ke-10 dari perguruan tinggi di seluruh Indonesia. Berbagai prestasi tersebut telah menjadikan kampus UPN Veteran Jakarta sebagai salah satu kampus unggulan di Indonesia. Dalam 3 tahun terakhir, peringkat kampus secara nasional terus meningkat. Kemen Riset Dikti mencatat di tahun 2018, UPN Veteran Jakarta berada di peringkat 143, meningkat 290 angka dari tahun 2017. Pada tahun 2019, UPN Veteran Jakarta masuk 100 kampus unggulan nasional atau berada di peringkat ke-77. Transformasi UPN Veteran Jakarta yang telah menjadi universitas negeri adalah tonggak awal menuju era baru, mewujudkan universitas terkemuka di Indonesia.
Selamat berkarya, maju bersama, meraih prestasi.
Salam bela negara.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Our opening ceremony is about to begin. Please have a nice seat and give your attention. Okay, before I start the seminar, I would like to inform you the rules of the seminar. The first one is all of the participants are advised to mute their mic to reduce the background noises. And please turn on the video call during the seminars. And there will be a question and answer sessions that you are welcome to send your questions by Google Form. And please use your original name so we can recognize you easily. Thank you. Well, let me start the seminar. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Salam bela negara. We proudly present the international webinar on nutrition and immunity, which held by Nutrition Study Program UPN Veteran Jakarta in collaboration with Faculty of Sports Science and Recreation, University Technology Mara or UITA Malaysia, and Jeffrey G. School of Medicine, Monash University, Malaysia. It's been a great honor for me, Ida Aulia, to be here and welcome each of you and this occasion. On this occasion, we'll be very glad and lucky because we are going to take knowledge about nutrition and its relationship with immunity directly from the expert, not only from Indonesia but also from abroad, that is from Malaysia. And I'm really sure that seminar session will be very exciting and useful for all of us. Before we proceed the program today, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to the Excellencies Rektor UPN Veteran Jakarta, Dr. Erna Hernawati, AK CPM ACA, The Excellency Dekan Faculty of Health Science, Dr. Gigi Wahyu Setiadi Mas, The Excellency Speaker from Monash University, Malaysia, Professor Dr. Amu K. Sadakrishnan. Thank you for welcoming Prof. Amu. The Excellency Speaker from University Technology Mara, Malaysia, Professor Dr. Mahenderan Apokoti, FMSM. Thank you for welcome. Thank you for coming, Professor Mahenderan. And the Excellency Speaker from UPN Veteran Jakarta, Ms. Aimatul Fauzia SKZ MSc. Thank you for coming, Ms. Aimatul. And the Excellency distinguished guests and all of the participants, ladies and gentlemen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we would like to invite Rektor UPN Veteran Jakarta to deliver her welcoming speech and to officially open International Webinar of Nutrition and Immunity. Please welcome Dr. Erna Hernawati, AK CPM ACA. To Dr. Hernawati, the time is yours. Please.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Dr. Gigi Wahyu Sulistiadi, Dean of Health Sciences, UPN Veteran Jakarta. The speaker, Professor Dr. Amu K. Radhakrishnan, Professor Immunology at FIKES School of Medicine and Health Sciences, Monash University, Malaysia. Associate Professor Dr. Mahenderan Apokoti, FNSM, Faculty of Sport Sciences and Recreation, University Technology, Mara, Malaysia. Yeah. The speaker, Ms. Aimatul Fauzia, Sarjana Gizi, MSc, Lecturer of Nutrition Program, Faculty of Health Sciences, UPN Veteran Jakarta. All participants, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greetings to you all. Praise be to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, Almighty God, for His grace and grace today. We can still gather in the study program, even though in the COVID-19 pandemic. Hopefully, COVID-19 will pass quickly and we can live normal again. Amin, amin, ya rabbal alamin. This event become very valuable with the presence of the excellent speakers from Monash University, Malaysia, University Technology Mara, Malaysia, and UPN Veteran Jakarta. Thank you to all the speakers who have participated in this webinar. This seminar, I think, is very special because it discusses about nutrition and immunity. Of course, it is related with the current COVID-19 issue. This topic becomes very relevant, I think, and as we know, that one way to fight COVID-19 is to keep our body healthy. The role of proper nutrition is very important to be discussed. Hopefully, the presence of speakers from various universities in Malaysia and from Indonesia will enrich studies on nutrition and immunity. Ladies and gentlemen, related to COVID-19, as we know, that COVID-19 pandemic is still going in all over the world. Some have shown a declining trend, while some still showing an increasing trend. In Indonesia, especially currently in Jakarta, increasing trend still shows in the last few weeks. Related to this condition,
It is the duty of academics to continue to work, strive to help to reduce COVID-19 transmission, and also guiding the community by socializing on what must be done in order to minimize the possibility of getting affected by COVID-19. So the most important thing right now is how we try to protect ourselves. The whole community must make effort to protect themselves from COVID-19, because protecting people from COVID-19 is not only the duty of government. Finally, congratulations on joining this seminar. Hopefully, you will produce something useful and can also help to contribute to overcome COVID-19. Hopefully, this collaboration between University Mara Malaysia, Monash University Malaysia, and UPN Veteran Jakarta will continue, especially in this pandemic. There are many things we can do through webinars like this, maybe, or joint research about COVID-19 for the future. We have to keep up the enthusiasm and positivism to proactively fight COVID-19, always practicing COVID-19 health protocol. May you stay safe, protective, and healthy during this tough time. Enjoy this seminar. See you. Salam bela negara. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for Dr. Erna Hernawati, AKCPM ACL, for the welcoming speech. And now it is my deep pleasure to introduce the moderator of the seminar session. Her Excellency is Ms. Firlia Ayu Arini, SKM MKM, that will lead the seminar. Ms. Firlia is a lecturer in Nutrition Study Program, Faculty of Health Science, UPN Veteran Jakarta. He is a statistic consultant and tutor at Via Public Media, Iluni Epidemiologi FKM UI, and Pusat Data dan Informasi Badan POM. Please welcome Ms. Firlia Ayu. To Ms. Firlia Ayu, the time is yours. To the committee, please unmute Ms. Firlia Ayu. Yeah.
Thank you, Vida, for the introduction. The Honorable Principal of UPN Veteran Jakarta and the speakers, also all of the participants. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and welcome to our national webinar on nutrition and immunity today. This program, hosted by Nutrition Program Study, Faculty of Health Science, UPN Veteran Jakarta, in collaboration with Monash University and UTM Malaysia. I'm Firlia Ayu. It's an honor for me to be a moderator for this webinar this morning. We have three speakers today who will be presenting about nutrition and immunity. And the first one, we have Professor Dr. Amu Radhakrishnan from Monash University. First, may I briefly introduce Prof. Amu as our guest speaker today. Prof. Amu Radhakrishnan, she obtained a first class honor Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry and Master of Science from Department of Biochemistry, Faculty of Medicine in University of Malaya, and she obtained PhD in therapeutic. So she is an immunology professor, and now from 2019 she joined Monash University and at University of Oxford, Britain. And her main areas of research are immunoregulation and developing immunotherapies to treat cancer. Today, she will present about tocotrienols, her research about tocotrienols to immune response. Please welcome Professor Amu, who will present about nutrition and immune response focusing on tocotrienols. Professor Amu, the time is yours. Thank you.
Wayu. A very good morning to the Honorable Dr. Anna, Dr. Wayu, the organizing committee, my fellow speakers, and ladies and gentlemen. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my research on tocotrienol using nutrition and immunity. I'm trying to share my screen. Just give me a few minutes. Okay, so what I'm going to talk to you today is nutrition and immunity, and I'm going to share with you evidence from my own research team. So this is my talk outline. As you all know, I don't know how many of you are immunologists. So what I'm going to do is just give you a very quick overview of the immune system. It is a very complex system, and but I'll focus on areas which I will be touching on when we talk about the evidences of tocotrienol on the immune system. Next, I'll introduce tocotrienols, and I'm very sure most of you may know tocotrienols because tocotrienol is one of the key micronutrient that we extract from palm oil. And Indonesia being the world's largest exporter of palm oil, this will be very important to Indonesia as well as Malaysia. And then I will talk on the research evidence using tocotrienols on whatever we've done so far, and then we just conclude. So when we talk about the immune system, like what Dr. Erna mentioned, is actually a very important topic right now in the view of the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. So everyone is now talking about how do I boost my immune system? So the most important function that we will talk about is about the immunity against invading pathogens. So by pathogens, we say bacteria, viruses, parasites. And now how do you boost up our immune system so that we can fight the immune system? Now, in terms of this area of function, the most important thing is to prevent infection. So we want to prevent the bacteria or the pathogen from entering our cells, but it's not always possible to do that. So the next level will be to fight pathogens. This is like in a war, in a battlefield. You know, you've got the breach. If you breach your barriers, then you've got to start the war. So this is what happens when your immune system tries to fight. And if we do this very well, we acquire immunity or protection against a certain pathogen. That means that if we were to encounter this pathogen sometime later, we are ready and we can fight better. The next function is in repair and healing. Now, in order for repair and healing to happen, we need to remove the old cells and dead cells so that repair can take place. The next function is a bit neglected in terms of the immune function, but it's becoming more and more interesting now. And this is my key area of research, is identifying how the immune system can identify and destroy abnormal cells, primarily cancer cells, damaged cells, and mutated cells. Now here it looks like the immune system is all good. Okay, if you regulate your immune system, if you know if the cells are all in harmony, this is all good. But there are also some undesirable effects of the immune system, like immunodeficiency, allergy, autoimmune, rejection of transplants. Now, very briefly, the immune system can be either you make an innate response or you make an adaptive response. Innate is quite primitive, very easy to activate because you don't need to activate, it's ready. Adaptive is more complicated, sophisticated. Okay, you need some time to activate this arm. And there is what we call systemic and also mucosal immune response. Systemic is immune response that happens in your blood vessels, in your lymphatics, in what we call non-mucosal tissue. Whereas mucosal is where it happens, where antigens can enter, like for instance, your tonsils, gastrointestinal tract. So there's slight differences, but the function is still very much the same. Next slide shows you the cells that are responsible in the immune system, okay? So you will see on this arm, these are the cells involved in primarily innate response. And here you see two cells, the T lymphocytes and the B lymphocytes, which are key players of the adaptive immune response. Now in the Venn diagram here, you see a gamma delta T cells and natural killer cells, which can actually work either way. But in actual fact, this is a textbook representation of how the cells function, but really there is a huge overlap between how these cells function. Now, in terms of innate, as I mentioned just now, it's very, very basic. So mechanical barriers to prevent entry. The normal bacterial flora is found in different parts of your body, like skin, your mouth. All this is helping you to keep pathogenic bacteria away. So they want to prevent colonization by pathogenic bacteria. In terms of biochemical protection, we've got a lot of cytokines. We've got what we call the complement proteins, acute phase proteins to help us. And the cellular, I just showed you the granulocytes, the natural killer cells, and also the monocytes. The more exciting arm of the immune system, which will be more important here in terms of activating the immune system, is the adaptive arm. So you've got antibody production by your activated B lymphocytes, then you've got T helper cells, T cytotoxic cells, and also production of cytokines. Now, in terms of adaptive immune response, the general, the one that makes most of the decision is actually the T lymphocytes. When I started immunology about 30 years ago, okay, that's when I started my PhD 30 years ago. So there were only two classes of T cells. Either the T cells express this molecule called CD4 or they express this molecule called CD8. While I was doing my PhD, they said, oh, the CD4 cells, there are two subsets, Th1 and Th2. And then more recently, the T regulatory cells that we call Tregs were discovered. But now the situation is more complex. The immune system, more and more research, we find that starting off from T helper 1 and T helper 2, it now has got many more subsets. And the interplay between these subsets is very, very complex. I'm sorry, I don't have the time to go into all these details, but they actually produce different cytokines and they all have different effects. In this presentation, I'm going to focus primarily on the Th1 and T regulatory cells. Okay, so just to show you how complex it is, there are different molecules, different cytokines responsible for the production of the different subsets. And each of these subsets, they produce different growth factors. Now, for instance, the Th1, which is the T helper 1, okay, the key cytokine is interferon gamma, and T helper 1 mediate what we call cell-mediated immune response, which is the kind of response we want to generate in our body, because this is the good immune response. Then you've got the T regulatory cells. I'm not saying they are bad, but T regulatory cells are more immunosuppressive. So in certain conditions, you don't want them to function too well, okay? So we need to appreciate that our ability to interact with the world, and today you know this is true, our ability to interact with the world and remain healthy largely depends on healthy immune system. I think the COVID-19 situation, the pandemic has actually taught us this, that having a good, healthy immune system is very, very important. Now, for your immune system, it is also a complex battle because there are so many pros and cons happening at the same time. So if you look at the next slide, the immune system has got certain decisions to make. Is it going to stay on status quo, tolerance? That means don't do anything. For that, we need what we call suppression. And the key cells here is your T regulatory cells. So if the T regulatory cells dominate the situation, then you find that you're not going to start any immune response. For you to fight, you need to have what we call respond to injury, which is actually acute inflammation. Then you generate what we call immunity or protection. For this, the key cells are the CD4 positive T cells and your CD8 positive T cells. Now, there are many factors that actually affect your immune system. I'm going to show you some of the factors, but this list is not exhaustive. Like age, younger, very young people and very old people have got weaker immune system. Nutrition, which is the key of factor that we're going to focus on today. Moderate exercise is good. If you do too strenuous exercise, it stresses you out. It actually stresses your immune system out. Medication, if people are on immunosuppressive drugs, it can actually affect your immune system. Genetics. Now, I know others have lumped it here. This is as important. I keep telling my friends, look, sleep is very, very important. You need at least 6 to 7 hours of sleep every day so that your immune system gets a chance to recover. Stress is not so good, okay? If you're stressed and your stress hormone comes out, it suppresses your immune system. Smoking, infections, like for instance, infections like HIV wipes out your immune system. The gut microbiome is quite a bit related to nutrition. So for today's lecture, I'm just going to focus on nutrition. Now, if you look at the literature, there is a lot of research to show that nutrition is one of the most important factors that support a healthy and balanced immune system. And there is also research to show that if you have a good nutrition, it can actually stop or retard declining of the immune system in older individuals. So we have a lot to gain by actually having good nutrition. So poor nutrition would mean that we increase susceptibility to infections, to cancer. We are slow in healing from injury and infection. So in other words, it actually causes a dysfunctional immune system. Now, in the literature, I'm not going to talk about all this. There's not enough time. There's so many substances that actually cause effect on the immune system. I've worked on cholesterol, probiotics, antioxidants, curcumin, vitamin A, and vitamin E. So today's talk, I'm going to focus on vitamin E. So natural vitamin E exists in two forms, okay? The more famous form is what we call the tocopherols. And now it's becoming more and more famous now is the tocotrienols. Now, if you look at it structurally, they're very, very similar. The difference is actually in the side chain. The side chain of tocopherol is saturated, no double bonds, no unsaturated bonds. Whereas a tocotrienol, the side chain that's got 3 unsaturated bonds here, double bonds here. So that's the basic difference in structure. But naturally, they occur in 4 forms, the alpha, beta, delta, and gamma. This depends on what are the molecules which are sitting on the R1, R2, and R3. Palm oil is a very rich source of vitamin E. The vitamin E component in palm oil is known as tocotrienol rich fraction. If you look at this composition of TRF, tocotrienol rich fraction is short form is TRF. So this is the vitamin E from palm oil. It contains 20% alpha tocopherol and 80% of tocotrienol. So there is alpha tocotrienol, delta tocotrienol, gamma tocotrienol, and very, very tiny amounts of beta tocotrienol, very small amounts. So why is it that there's not much research in tocotrienols? Now, the discovery of tocotrienols happened about the time when I was born, I think 1964 to 1966, okay? And then a lot of research started on the antioxidant effects. Then it went on to anti-cancer effects. Now we are moving on to clinical trials, doing more genomics and proteomics, okay? So if you look at the impact of tocotrienol in the literature, it has many, many effects, okay? So my research group, we focus on the immune enhancement and in terms of anti-cancer effect. What I'm going to show you today is how tocotrienol has enhanced immune system to fight cancer. Okay, so we show you tumor-specific immune response. So the other, all these other beneficial effects, there are a lot of papers out there in the literature. So now I'm going to start sharing with you the evidences that we have collected over the years on the efficacy of tocotrienol. The first study I'm going to share with you is actually a clinical trial, okay? Here we assess the effects of tocotrienol rich fraction supplementation on immune response to tetanus toxoid vaccine challenge in healthy female volunteers. So here we used tocotrienol rich fraction. Now, just to let you know, in Malaysia, vaccination to tetanus toxoid is a mandatory vaccination. So all Malaysians would have had this at least 3 doses of tetanus toxoid in their childhood. So the study was like this, okay? It's a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial. So we recruited healthy women, okay, aged between 18 to 25, so young women, and they were randomly assigned into control or TRF supplemented groups. So, and they were blinded, they didn't know what they were getting. And then we gave them for 28 days of supplementation. Then we challenged the vaccine at day 28, and the supplementation continued for another 28 days. So blood was taken at day 0, day 28, and day 56. So let's show you the results. Okay. This is the white bar is showing you a TRF and black bar is the placebo. So you look at day 0, okay, the participants in both arms were equal, similar. I mean, there's no significant difference in their anti-tetanus toxoid antibody of IgG class. And then day 28, also no significant difference. Okay, this is when we started to give our vaccination after taking the blood. Now, 28 days later, that's day 56, you see there's a significant increase in the antibodies to tetanus toxoid in the TRF supplemented group. You also see an increase in the placebo group, which is not surprising because it is a vaccination study. The amount of antibody produced in the TRF group was also significantly higher than the placebo group. Okay. Now, this is also, we looked at interferon gamma production, because remember I told you interferon gamma is very important for a Th1, a T helper 1 response, which is desirable. So if you look again, here what we did was we took out the peripheral blood lymphocytes from these volunteers, and we cultured in the presence of CON-A, which is a non-specific mitogen for T cell proliferation. And we also did the similar one with the antigen specific, which is the tetanus toxoid, to stimulate proliferation. In both cases, you see here, the black is the TRF. There was higher amount of interferon gamma produced in the TRF supplemented individuals when we looked at the CON-A stimulation. But when you look at antigen-specific stimulation, you see here markedly increased production of interferon gamma in individuals who were supplemented with TRF. So the evidence is showing that there is a push towards a Th1 immune response. This was published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Okay, so if you need a copy, I can share the copy with you. Now, then the question we asked was, yes, in the human study we use TRF. So is it the alpha tocopherol or is it the tocotrienol that is pushing the immune system further? So we repeated the study, but we used different forms of vitamin E. Okay, it's actually very expensive to use individual isoforms of tocotrienol, but nevertheless, we managed to get sufficient amount of delta tocotrienol, and then the alpha tocopherol you can purchase, and also tocotrienol rich fraction. And we had one more group, which was the vehicle group. Okay, so what happened is the mice here, we started feeding them with the different forms of vitamin E or vehicle. Okay, they received first dose of tetanus toxoid vaccination day 14, the booster on day 28 and day 42. Okay, and then we took the blood for analysis of tetanus toxoid antibody. So if you look at this graph, okay, immediately you can see this is vehicle. So you see there is an increase in the antibodies to tetanus toxoid as we have the booster, the 2 boosters. In the alpha tocopherol, we see the same pattern, delta as well as TRF. But what was very, very important was delta tocotrienol was significantly higher than alpha tocopherol or even the TRF. And the TRF antibody response was much higher than the tocopherol. So again, this shows you that tocotrienol does push the immune system to more of the Th1 response. Now, this is a more exciting study. Okay, this is where I'm going to show you how the tocotrienol supplementation modulated immune response to produce more of a T helper 1 response over a T regulatory response. So just to remind you that the subsets that I'm going to talk about is the Th1, okay, which is reported to have anti-tumor response, fights the intracellular pathogen and some role in autoimmunity. And the key cytokine, as I mentioned, is interferon gamma. And we're going to look at the second subset, which is the Treg. I here stands for inducible T regulatory cells. Now, T regulatory cells express a transcription factor called FOXP3. So this transcription factor, if the cell expressed, it is more of a T regulatory cytokine. And the important cytokine here is the TG transforming growth factor beta. So it's involved in immune tolerance. That means it wants to suppress immune response, lymphocyte homeostasis, as well as regulation of immune response. Okay, so I'm just going to focus on those 2 subsets of T cells. So the experiment was very simple. We fed animals, a bulk C animal, with gamma tocotrienol. So in this study, we use gamma tocotrienol. So they were fed with either gamma tocotrienol or vehicle. Now, for tocotrienol, studies have shown that the bioavailability is quite low in the blood. So what we did to overcome this situation is to feed them 0.5 milligram twice a day. That means it got 1 milligram a day. So the mice were then inoculated after 14 days with breast cancer. And then we did various analysis. We sacrificed animals every 7 days to look at the pattern. So if you look at the study, the tumor growth pattern, so you will see the red one, or rather the orange one, is where the animals were just given a vehicle, which was soy oil. And this is the tumor volume for animals that were given the gamma tocotrienol. So there is a significant reduction in tumor growth, which also tallies with our tumor weight. Okay. And then what we looked at was the subset. Now, this is a busy slide, so I just want to take you through a few important points here. So this panel here shows you CD4 positive T cells. That is all the T helper cells, whether it's Th1, Th2, Tregs, T17. So what you notice, the dark blue is actually tumor-induced fed with gamma T3. The yellow is tumor-induced fed with vehicle. So there is actually a significant increase in the population of CD4 positive T cells, at least at day 42 and 49, okay? And then you look at the cytotoxic T cells. These are the cells that will actually go and kill the tumor cells. Again, you see in the blue, okay, at day 42, there is a significant increase in the cytotoxic T cells, which tallies somewhat with the phenotype data where you see the reduction in tumor growth. Okay, I want to look at natural killer cells. I want to look at T regulatory cells. Remember that yellow was the one with the tumor, but was fed with vehicle. So you see there is an increasing number of T regulatory cells in the animals fed with vehicle and challenged with tumor. With the gamma tocotrienol, basically, if you look at day 42 and day 49, it is significantly lower. So that is actually very good, telling us that some way the tocotrienol has managed the immune system so that the Treg cells are suppressed. So this was then checked with the immunohistochemistry. So we took tumor section from animals fed with vehicle, and this is the animals fed with tocotrienol. So if you look at CD4 count, you do see a lot of CD4 cells in the tumor section from vehicle as well as tocotrienol. Okay, so that doesn't tell us, is it a T helper cell or is it a T regulatory cells? Then we also stained with what we call the FOXP3, which is a marker specific for T regulatory cells. What you see here is there's a huge influx of T regulatory cells in the tumor of mice fed with vehicle, suggesting that there is an immunosuppressive environment in the tumor, allowing the tumor to continue to grow. Whereas if you look at the animals fed with tocotrienol, there is some, but the intensity is much, much lower, and you did see a smaller growth of tumor. So again, this suggests that the tocotrienol supplementation managed to regulate immune response. Now, very quickly, this is a little old study, but we were working on immunotherapy using dendritic cells. And again, here we fed the animals with TRF. So the aim was to see if TRF can enhance DC immunotherapy. We've used a mouse model of breast cancer. So basically, this is the situation. We induce tumor, and then when the tumor is palpable around day 12 to 14, we start the dendritic cell immunotherapy. Dendritic cell immunotherapy is we isolate bone marrow, we differentiate into dendritic cells, and then we either use dendritic cells on their own or use dendritic cells that have been pulsed with tumor lysate. So in this experiment, they got 3 injections, day 14, day 21, and day 35. And the animals either received TRF, supplementation, or vehicle. Okay, show you the results. Okay, if you look at the purple and blue, this is a situation where either they receive tumor and we don't feed them with anything. The purple one, they received tumor and they were fed with vehicle. So you see the tumor is rapidly growing. What I want you to see is the green bar. The green bar is where the animals got DC and tumor lysate and were supplemented with TRF. You see a marked reduction in tumor growth. The red one is where also worked quite well. Okay, they received DC plus tumor lysate, but the supplementation with TRF actually further reduced the tumor growth. And we then, to verify that this is because we have activated the immune system, we did what we call a cytotoxic T cell assay. Okay, and again, you see the green bar. We have actually generated a huge number of cytotoxic T cells specific to the tumor in the animals that were given DC plus tumor lysate plus TRF. So this again proves that we have managed to push the immune system to a Th1 response. So this was published in this journal. Okay, again, if you need a copy, please let me know. And just to conclude from my studies, we have found that tocotrienol rich fraction supplementation enhanced immune response to tetanus toxoid. I showed you in the human model as well as in the mouse model. In the mouse model, we showed you that it was able to modulate immune system to fight breast cancer. And also I showed you evidence that DC immunotherapy can be enhanced by using tocotrienol supplementation. So my conclusion is that tocotrienol supplementation can enhance host immune system. Thank you. I'm sorry if that was fast, but I know I was running out. I was making sure I kept to time.
Thank you. An excellent presentation about tocotrienols. I may conclude that have some research about researchers about tocotrienols supplementary for boost or increase the immune system. Like the first study from Prof. Amu had a clinical study to assess the effect of tocotrienols or TRF supplement on immune system, and the results showed that the intervention group have a higher antibody, and then it has been published on European Journal of Clinical Nutrition as well. And then the second study, Prof. Amu have developed the research about to assess supplementation on tocotrienols together with tocopherol to mouse, yeah. And the results showed that it increased antibody as well. And the third study, it is to assess the effect of tocotrienols, of gamma tocotrienols twice a day that can inhibit tumor metastasis or delay tumor growth in mice, yeah. Very interesting, even though at the beginning we should be concentrate more to see your presentation, Prof. Amu. Thank you. Before we continue, we haven't taken a picture for all the participants and the speakers. Now we will take 10 seconds for having picture with a sign of bela negara, like that. In front of the chest. Can everyone follow this position? Okay. We hold for 10 seconds, starting from now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Enough. Thank you. Next, we have our second speaker, Dr. Mahen. Associate Professor Dr. Mahenderan Apuketi, we call Dr. Mahen. Hello, Dr. Mahen.
Hi.
Okay. Before Dr. Mahen start his presentation, let me read the biodata of Dr. Mahen. Dr. Mahen, he was the head of Center of Postgraduate Studies at the Faculty of Sports Science and Recreation, UTM, or University Technology Mara, Shah Alam, Malaysia. And then he obtained his PhD in nutritional science, focusing on nutrition, immunity, and nutritional science. And exercise performance from University Kebangsaan Malaysia, his Master of Sports Science from University Sains Malaysia, and Bachelor of Science in Nutrition and Community Health from University Putra Malaysia. He is the Hon Secretary of Nutrition Society of Malaysia, or NSM, and as Fellow of NSM. And then he also served as council member of Malaysian Association for the Study of Obesity. He also served as specialist representative for exercise physiology or sport medicine for world obesity. He chairs Malaysian Vegetarian Dietary Guidelines and also contributed as writer for Malaysian Dietary Guidelines. He has published scientific articles in local and international research journal, newspaper, and magazine. He also presented papers at some international and local conference seminars in nutrition, health, exercise, science. Dr. Mahen currently serves as the editorial board members for International Journal of Therapies and Rehabilitation Research and International Journal of Physical Education, Sport and Health. He collaborates with government, private agencies for many community nutrition promotion and research projects. He has contributed towards capacity building of nutritionists in the region Seameo Rekfon, Indonesia, and also served as chairperson of Malaysian Nutrition Leadership Program. Please welcome Dr. Mahen. Today, he will present about probiotic, exercise and immunity, right, Dr. Mahen? Please welcome Dr. Mahen, and the time is yours. Dr. Mahen, you have 30 minutes.
Thank you, Phila. Thank you, everyone. You all can hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. Earlier, my professor, my PhD supervisor, Professor Amu, have spoken. I think she have given you all the view on the immunity, and then she draw the line to the palm oil, tocotrienol, tocopherol, and everything. Now I'll be looking at the probiotics. She also worked together with me on this area, and we are trying to do more in this area more. And I think I will go straight because time is precious now. I have to share my university, where I came from. This is University Technology Mara. We have 14 branch campuses in this country. We are the largest in the Malaysia. I would say probably we are the largest in the world as well. We got about 16,000 or 47,000 students. Yeah, that's what the whole Malaysia has, including international students and everything. Well, thanks and appreciation to the Faculty of Health Sciences Nutrition Program Study, the Universitas Pembangunan Nasional Veteran Jakarta. Thank you very much for inviting me. A special thanks to the rector, Dr. Erna, Dr. Vayu for the dean or decan, and also special thanks to my colleague Ansha for inviting me. And I would say that I'm going to be in the physical activity. I know if you have been sitting prolonged, sitting is not good. So you are bebas to duduk diam, tidak duduk diam ya, berjalan-jalan tapi dengar. I have to declare that I have no conflict of interest in any of the papers. I'm not talking about companies. I'm talking about the academic world of the research only. Well, this will be my outline to talk about the probiotics, and then probiotic and health, and probiotic in sports, and then I give you a conclusion out of it in the terms of exercise or in sports. So I believe many of you have probably heard or not heard. I would remind you about probiotic. It's not something new. We've been in the Asian population, we've been using probiotic as a lactic acid bacteria, LAB. But internationally, they're known as a gut-friendly gut bacteria. It's been living with us, and even in Latin word pro means for, and the Greek word biotic means live. So it's for life, yeah. So that was actually probiotics coined out. And I think Prof. Ammo have talked about the bacteria, viral, and virus and everything all. So I would try to say that we born with the bacteria until we die. It will be with us. It will be remain in our gut, in our skin, and everywhere, and we have to live with it. But there are good ones and the bad ones. So we are not worried about the bad ones. We worried about the good ones first. Always think about the positive side. So in the probiotics, you have the life culture. It's been used in the drugs, the medicinal food, in probiotic food, and non-oral, and also in animal feeding. Yeah, they're using it in aquaculture for fish and prawns and everything, who are rearing it, culturing it, and also for feeding for animals, because they don't want to use antibiotics and everything. All these things are available. You can see that. And I always like this slide per se, because I always believe in working together with industry, working together with the regulatory, the ministry people and the scientists from the universities or research institutes. We always wanted to generate high quality science. That's our job as a scientist. And the nutrition students who are outside there, please, this is where we have to work together with the industry to come out with a high quality, but it's a profitable product. It's their agenda, but it's not problem for us. As long as we work together for one goal, main goal is to take care of a human being. And then when they come out with the products and everything, certainly regulatory, this is where the Ministry of Health and the Food Safety Quality Assurance Division will come inside and talk and take care of all the consumer, because the public are important to be taken care. And as a public, mind you, we have to educate, the scientists have to educate, the nutritionists working outside there, the dietitians are working outside there. They have to take care of the consumers, the clients, the patients, to talk to them how to get a reliable information, and so that they can make an informed decision before they get this using of probiotics or any other health products or health food. And this is our duty. It is a viscous cycle. So in probiotics, you can there's a terms can coin from there. Is prebiotics. It's not something not different. We've been eating it. Some fibers that we are eating that can help and growth in the microorganism. It's actually a food for the probiotics, in simple word. And when you combine the prebiotic and what they call and probiotic, it becomes symbiotics. It is the combination, and these prebiotics have to growth of the probiotics. This you need to know, yeah. Probiotics and the what they call the probiotics have the bad bacteria and the good bacteria. You have to balance it up. So we need to balance it. Not doesn't mean that you eat more probiotic is good things for you. No, it is not like that. Anything must be in a moderation. Harmonization is very important in that. And then when you buy product of the of the probiotic organism, is called postbiotics. Another new term that's coming up in this world is now we are talking about psychobiotics. How a probiotic comes in the psychotropics properties and helps in the psychological. This is where the gut-brain axis been informed. I'll talk later in that. So I think Prof. Ammo have talked about it on the immune system, and 70% of your immune system is in your digestive tract. So gut is very important. You always must say gut feeling, right? Now you have to take care of the gut. And coming back to food culture, when you talk about food, you cannot run away from our culture, our Malaysian culture, the Indonesian culture, the Asian culture per se. Whenever you see a person, definitely they will ask you, how are you? The second word, have you eaten? That is our culture. That is how we are being trained for. But we must understand the food in our side is very important. We always think as a medicinal potential and also a health enhancing property. But unfortunately, we don't publish it or reported it scientifically in a proper manner. We always do it in our own ways. I think Prof. Amo put in the last slide about Hippocrates, who talks about food is medicine, medicine is food. I would agree with that, but I would say that in the whole world, the Asian population, the population include the Chinese and Indians, we have mentioned about it, food is as a medicine food. And we cannot run away. And I would say that the diversity of the ethnicity, that is very important. Yeah, you have to see in Malaysia, we have Malay, indigenous, which is the Sabah and Sarawak people, the Indian and the Chinese. So all these things, they have a different type of food beliefs and practicing. So all these things have a role in your gut microbiome. I think Prof. Amu have mentioned about it. So diet pattern change in our region. From the north to the south is a much of differences is there. In Indonesia, for instance, also definitely you have a different of diet according to your kawasan, yeah, ataupun province. So different type of diet will influence the type of gut microbiota. And there's common probiotics we use is the lactobacillus and the bifidobacterium. And that's some of the name: Acidophilus, Plantarum, Bifidum, and Longum. This is quite a common ones that we've been using in the product for probiotics. And probiotics comes in a many form nowadays. It's in the capsule, stick, powder, chewable, liquid form. That's name it. That's many things. But we have to understand that all these things, we have to take it as a food, not as a drug. So this is a picture of many type of probiotic food and also prebiotics. This is a very common food in Indonesia, tempeh. I don't think so. All of you don't know about it. In Malaysia, people knows about it. The whole world is talking about tempeh now. I believe when I will have a webinar with the Indonesian group, they said there's a sport drinks done from the what they call tempeh. I'm looking forward for this kind of products in this region. Well, when you talk about it regularly, I mentioned earlier, we do have in Malaysia, I believe in Indonesia also they have, and we under Malaysian government, under the Food Safety and Quality Division, FSQD, we work together with the Drug Control Authority, National Pharmaceutical Control Bureau, the Committee for Classification of Food and Drug Interface. All these departments and agencies work together to control and take care of the public by looking at the food and the drugs they have been endorsed in the. In Malaysia, nutrient function claim is a very important. We don't simply give anybody to claim. They have to produce and show such a things are available, and we have to accept. Then only can be endorsed it. In Malaysia, it's already been regulated. Probiotic culture, Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium species only at the moment. And we only accept probiotic culture help in improving intestinal or gut function or any other word that's similar to the meaning. So they must come to these points of intestinal and gut function, though probiotic have many other options and helps in the body in many ways. But in Malaysia, so far, only these two for the gut system only we are talking about. And it is gazetted in 2017. So as I said, all claims require substantiation of a scientific evidence. Without a scientific evidence, we cannot prove. We can talk about it. Oh, I take this one. It's good for my body, good for my system. No, like Prof. Amu mentioned about it. You can talk about it. Oh, this is good, and that is good. No, she has proven in animal model. She has proven in a human model, so that can be a substantive evidence for people. Okay, well, talk about sports people. We all know that the sports people take a lot of supplements. Unfortunately, they don't even know what they've been eating. This is a common issues. So sport nutritionists or sport dietitian or exercise physiology coaches, they need to play a role. They have to educate the athletes to read the label. If there's no, the label is not listed on the products, please not to take at all. This is not important because it's not backed with evidence. It might be a doping substance there, and it may interfere with your body system and also jeopardize the whole career as a sportsman. Well, in the probiotic in research, we must know that as Prof. Amu mentioned, every individual have a stress and everything. So athletes definitely have a stress. That's called psychosocial, physiologically. Physiologically, you have a stress, and psychologically, you have a stress. All because of the training, high training. Moderate is fine. You must do physical activity. You must do in a moderate level, not a high intensity training. It's only required in a short term for a game competition based only. Otherwise, you have to make a proper recovery. Insomnia, not enough good sleep. Like me today, I haven't slept from the entire last night because of attending the American Nutrition Conference. So excited. Now I'm losing my voice also. So all these things you have to play around. But we have to understand athletes have an issue. So we have to think about how to counter propose. I think Prof. Amu have touched all these things on the exercise and immunity. This is where we exercise immunology comes in place. So usually is URTI, they affect your upper tract infection. Professor Neyman from US, he's one of the first person who talk about nutrition immunology and exercise immunology. So he have put a what they call a J curve here. If you see that average, what they call, if you are sedentary, your immunity for infection risk are in the average form. But when you are doing a moderate exercise, it becomes a below average for the infection risk. But when you do high intensity work, then you will have a problem. Then you are putting yourself in a high risk. But this is an athlete. They're only going to do in a short term. But if they prolong it too long, and then that's a problem. So all these things can be counter-proposed using different method and methodology. So as I said, diet also play a role. I think travels when you're jet lags or you don't have a proper timing, one corner to another corner, each competition, no rest, training load is high, and sleep. If you not enough sleep, definitely it will increase your upper respiratory syndrome symptom for infections. Well, in Malaysia, how many studies in probiotic in sports? Only these 4 at the moment. 3, actually, one is the review paper, which is my master student have done it on that daily probiotic supplementation. And football players, and looking at the stress, anxiety in football players. We have seen that paper, but we are using a single strain. If you notice that I've mentioned here single strain, multiple strain, because in probiotic, you must understand, is it a cocktail or is a single base bacteria that we are giving to the individual? And they have studies have shown on probiotic, on circuit training, on muscular strength, and also cytokine responses. And again, on the immune responses, using a different athletes and everything. In our beginning, one of the first start with myself and Prof. Ammo, we started with the animal model. We look at the soy fermented with Lactobacillus plantarum LAB12. This is a patent by one of my colleagues as well, Professor Dr. Kala. And we look at the immune responses, and we have it is a very interesting data that we found, and that's where we start to explore further. Review articles, a lot of review articles in the country coming up because they're emphasizing on talking about the food and also coming from the probiotic, food-based probiotics, not in the supplement base and everything. They are trying to mention people to take, athletes to take, but how far and what is going to be happening is all depends on the coaches, nutritionists, and dietitian working with them and advising them. So there's plenty of review paper coming up. I think there's more rooms to go in this area. If you look at the exercise immunology review, there's one of the top journals and everything. And International Society of Sport Nutrition, they have made a position on probiotic supplementation. They have 10 statements on top of it. I'm not going to go line by line for it because we don't have much time for it. So I will talk about the gist of it. And they say the core mechanism is still in under study, but they mention the strain and dose dependent. How much you are giving, you must have 10 power of 6 and above. That is a cutoff point that given for a regulatory. If you don't have the 10 power of 6 of the bacteria or the lactobacillus or bifidobacter, it may not function. So dose dependent is very important in these probiotics. And then they have mentioned a probiotic strain can increase the absorption of like something like amino acids from the protein and affect the pharmacological and physiological property, how in of the multiple food component is a food interactions within the food, and how it is helpful in the macronutrients, especially in the amino acids, and how is it synthesized. And then we see probiotics promote healthy immune response. It's not directly, indirectly. It works in many other systems. It works through the gut system, and then it went and help the immune system to boost up. I would say not boost up and maintain your body. So if you're in athletic population, there are few studies on talking about strains that reduce the number of episodes in severity and duration of the upper tract infection. So this is the sore throat. If you have a sore throat, you cannot perform because you will have difficulty to breathe, and your breathing will be a bit limited. When you have limited, your oxygen supply is there, the VO2 max goes down, and you are not performing very well itself. Well, it's also improve the gut-brain barrier functions. So that's well studied. A lot of papers on top of it. And there's 1 or 2 papers on the improved recovery of muscle damaging, that means lactic formation. So blood lactate will be reduced for the probiotic supplementation. However, it is still in the early stage of human studies in the athletic population. Some studies have shown in the body composition, looking at the lean body mass. Some are looking at the hormonal or testosterone level. So far is only one studies. And then there is a reduction in cortisol. This is a stress hormone that also mentioned by Prof. Ammo earlier. And then I mentioned about the fatigue. This is where exercise-induced lactate reduction. And then neurotransmitter synthesis, where your cognitive, your mood, your happiness, and all these things. However, the potential benefit in a vigorous human study is required. So the review, what they said is there is a therapeutic effect on the probiotic strains, but we must know which strain is working for which person. It's all individual based, variability is there. And definitely in the gastrointestinal tracts and respiratory system, there is a helpful in probiotics. However, as I mentioned earlier, it indicates a modest clinical benefit. At the moment, we need more studies. We need to show how is it works. Maybe that Tempeh sport drinks may have some potential. That's our region. We have to promote and go for it. And this is where the new area that I was mentioning about the gut and the brain axis. So this is one of my students did with the football players, and we found that they have helpful in the relaxation. Because when my student, what they did is in the brain wave, and I didn't put here, we are waiting for a publication on these things, because you can get my papers soon, very soon on that, on the brain waves and the probiotics. Okay, the possible mechanism. A lot of studies have been shown on the colonization and on the short fatty acid, short chain fatty acid, on the microbiota changes, the enterocytes, the pathogens level. This is already a lot of studies been done. And a little bit more in the vitamin synthesis, there works in the B and the Ks, vitamin B12 and the vitamin K in the gut colon. And antagonism, how is it directly against the reactions, gut barrier on the gut leaky issues, bile salt metabolism, enzymatic neutralization of carcinogen. All a few studies are coming up in this area. There's more to explore. Well, that's now the latest area that people are exploring is the neurological effects, immunological effects, endocrinological effects, and production of specific bioactive component part. This is where the possible mechanism that people are working in probiotics. There is plenty of room to work Japan are doing a lot of works in this. Then the UK are doing it. In Italy, people are doing it. Europe side, a lot of papers are coming up. We have to go and see, study about it. As I said, mentioned about that earlier, all this immune system that Prof. Amu was mentioning, this is where mucosal immunity, we talk about inflammatory system, we talk about improved intestinal permeability, oxidative stress. This is another area that we need to explore, because when the antioxidant is improved, it helps the cardiovascular function. So they have the interlinkage, they can work together in that. And then GI, microbiota, and the last not least on the gut-brain issues, how the stress, because everybody is stressed now. So is the probiotic helpful? It may. We have to do a lot of studies and see and how to prove this part. So this is the gap that I noticed that from the studies, scientifically proven probiotic strain, we need a lot of papers on that. Perhaps maybe Indonesia, India, Tempeh, they may find a different kind of strain or different new novelty strains can be found. We need a lot of technology. This is where I would say that a smart partnership, we work together. Like myself, I work with Prof. Amo from Monash University. They have a very good facilities there, how we can work together. And then this is where the unique opportunity that we have to work together to do all these things, and how to come up with the proper papers and to prove that there is a therapeutic changes take place due to the probiotic supplementation. Some of the issues in the probiotics that I need to see is the regulation. So in sports here, it's not in sports products, most of it is not being regulated properly. People don't know, people just consume probiotic. They may say in the labeling is probiotic, it might not even have active probiotic. I mean, the probiotic must be heat up, yeah? Here is live probiotic. If it is that one, we may not give you a better benefit that is what we wanted for. And I always say, this is all the funding issues there. This is where I say, I mentioned earlier, it's a smart partnership work, how we can work together with the different institutions, with different research center, different universities, how to work to develop a proper functional food, especially on probiotics. And then when you have a proper work, research and funding and comes in, then you develop, and you can go for the substantial scientific evidence and also innovative products and everything. And then technology development will come. In the end, last one, we can talk to the consumers, I mean the athletes, the public. Okay, there is a very good product and everything. We have to be very clear. As a scientist, we have a major role to play. We have ethical issues in here. We have to be very principally support the evidence, not because it is just been my industry promotion. We have to work and show, and they will work together with us. Always work together with many partners. We have to have a smart partnership so that we can work and produce more things for the public use. Last but not least, I would say that probiotic research is still in infancy, and we need the positive and negative results. Even it's negative, don't worry, it's all helpful to us to refine and focus for ongoing and further research. And probiotic definitely is a functional food. This is another keywords that people are using. It started from Japan, yeah, and then Europe are using it, and now in the region, we are actually exploring more on this. We need to know what is the mode of complexity. We need to study it properly, and then how to be given an option for the sports, for nutrition and performance per se. My take-home message: you must have something in probiotics, you tempeh, but tempeh don't goreng first, you eat in a raw or something, or take some probiotic drinks that are available, and good nutrition. In Malaysia, we call it suku-suku separuh. Must have about vegetable base, and then grains. We must have fruits there. You must have your whole grain products inside, and then a little bit of legumes, and then your meat, either one of it. And then regular exercise, do some physical activity. And I think Prof. Amo was mentioning about it, sleep sufficiently. If you don't do that, your immune will go down. And at these COVID issues, you need a proper sleep, I think you do more. And usually screen time must go down. I forgot to put, but unfortunately in COVID time, we do more screen time before compared to previously. And again, I have to acknowledge to the Universitas Pembangunan Nasional Veteran Jakarta. Thank you very much. And then thanks to my two collaborator. Well, she is my master student. The other guy is actually from USM, Professor Dr. Gary, who works in the psychology. This is where I always feel that multidisciplinary, we have to work. Nutrition shouldn't be in nutrition per se. We have to work with the genetics. We have to work with the endocrinologists, and Prof. Amu, like immunology side. And you have to work all with these people and come out with the proper scientific evidence papers for that. With that, thank you. Terima kasih. And I would like to invite all of you to Malaysia next year. Hopefully by that time there's no COVID and everything. So the obesity conference, please, all of you are welcome, and look for it in the website and get back. Thank you very much. Terima kasih. I'm done.
Thank you, Dr. Mahen, for such an informative presentation. So we can conclude from Dr. Mahen's presentation that probiotic have many health benefits, and we may take it from supplement products on daily diet, but we need to know how the optimal dosage to use probiotic supplement, right? Whereas nowadays, not much scientifically reported from probiotic products that can be alternative to boost immune system. But we can develop from food culture, like Indonesia has so many fermented food like tempeh, ikan peda, like Malaysian who has many city of ethnicity. Furthermore, for athletes, probiotic have some effects, some health benefits, like to increase the immunity, and then to increase the strength of the athletes and increase the cytokine, promote health immune response, and then specific probiotic may reduce GI tract and respiratory system disorder. Now, in pandemic situation, we are all easy to get stressed, right? We do everything at home, less of recreation, less of sport, maybe for some people. So maybe we should take probiotic supplement. Well, very interesting. Dr. Mahen, thank you for all the participants. If you have any question, you may feel all right at the link from the committee. And then at the end of the webinar today, we will have a Q&A or discussion session after the third speaker has finished. Now we continue to our third speaker, Miss Aimatul Fauzia, the lecturer from Nutrition Study Program UPN Veteran Jakarta. First, I will read Miss Aimatul Fauzia biodata. Miss Aimatul Fauzia SGZ MSE. She obtained her Bachelor of Science in Nutritional Science and Master of Science in Nutritional Science as well from Institut Pertanian Bogor or Agricultural Bogor University Institute. In 2016, she finished her master program, and her main research area are glycemic index of artificial rice. She developed an alternative to substitute the rice, and antioxidant capacity of food products, effect or developing some food product to added value of nutrition or function to health. from 2013 to present. Please welcome Ms. Aimatul Fauzia. She will present about flavonoid and immunity. Time is yours, Ms. Aim. You have about 20 minutes. Thank you. Hello, Ms. Aim.
Yeah, okay, Bu Firly, thank you, Bu Firly, for the opportunity. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The first of all, I would like to say thank you to Bu Rector, Dekan, the Dean of Faculty of Health Sciences, the head of Nutrition Study Program, Platonic, and also all the committee for inviting me to join this sharing session. Okay, my topic today is about flavonoids and immunity, especially the role of flavonoid on inflammation. Okay, this is my curriculum vitae already explained by Bu Firly, and then this is my outline of presentation. We will discuss about flavonoid, and then we move to inflammation and the role of flavonoid. Why we discuss about flavonoid? Because nowadays we are struggling. Combating the inflammation, especially from metabolic syndrome, and the flavonoid has positive effect for this inflammation. What is flavonoid? Flavonoid are groups of natural substance with variable phenolic structure, can be found in fruits, vegetables, grains, bark, roots, stems, flowers, even anti and also wine. Flavonoids also exhibit biological activities including anti-inflammatory, anti-allergenic, antiviral, and vasodilating effect. Flavonoids also act as an antioxidant, which is able to reduce free radical formation and also scavenge free radical. And what are the subclasses of flavonoids? There are many types of flavonoids. There are flavones, flavonols, flavanones, catechins, or we can also call it flavanols, anthocyanidins, and also isoflavones. The basic structure of this phenol structure, we have aromatic rings and also hydroxyl group. This aromatic ring and hydroxyl group, it define the properties of antioxidant capacity. Many researchers suggest that flavanol and flavone has the strongest or powerful antioxidant activity. As we can see on this table, on the middle side, this is the dietary source of flavonoid. For flavanol, we can found in tea, red wine, and also red grapes. The compound is catechin and epigallocatechin. For the flavone, we can found in fruit skins, red pepper, and also tomato skin. The compound is apigenin, chrysin, and also luteolin. By mentioning red wine, I don't mean to encourage you to consume red wine. Okay. Okay, there are many types of flavonoid also. There are flavonol, flavone, isoflavone, and anthocyanidin. We can see the dietary source from onion, red wine, olive oil, citrus, soybean, cherry, and so on. And then we move to inflammation. What is inflammation? Inflammation is local response to cellular injury that is marked by increased blood flow, capillary dilatation, leukocyte infiltration, and the localized production of a host of chemical mediators, which serve to initiate the elimination of toxic agents and the repair of damaged tissue. And we will focus on chronic inflammation. What is chronic inflammation? This is a slow, long-term inflammation lasting for prolonged periods of several months to years. And chronic inflammation, it is a pathological feature of wide-range chronic conditions such as metabolic syndrome, and also type 2 diabetes mellitus, and also fatty liver disease and cardiovascular disease. And this condition has a common sign. Then and on this condition we undergo inflammation, especially chronic low grade inflammation. And what is role of flavonoid on inflammation? Actually, there is many role of flavonoid. Flavonoid have a role as an anti-cancer, and then reduction in cardiovascular disease, in allergies, and we will focus on inflammation. Flavonoid can lower the leukocyte immobilization, increase the iron chelation, lower complement activations, lower myeloperoxidation, lower cyclooxygenase, and 5-lipooxygenase, and inhibit the production of nitric oxide. And this is can be done by flavonoid. And this is I take from apigenin. The apigenin have effect on chronic inflammation. How? By suppressing the P65 phosphorylation in monocytes or macrophage. We know that P56 is a protein as a part of NF-kappa B, and when it modulated, NF-kappa B system will induce the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines. And apigenin also reduce expression of cyclooxygenase 2 and also nitric oxide in most macrophage. And this function will lead to the lower of cancer and diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and also neurodegenerations. And what about the molecular targets for flavonoid? We can see many molecular targets from each of type of flavonoid, and I can conclude that most of them has action on suppressing the NF-kappa B signaling pathway. And NF-kappa B signaling pathway, when it's suppressed, it will lower the pro-inflammatory cytokines productions. And how about the flavonoid effect on cardiovascular disease? This is I take from the red grapes. Red grapes can act on cardiovascular disease by inhibit the LDL oxidation to form oxidized LDL. Flavonoids can act directly by scavenge free radical to form oxidized LDL. Flavonoids also preserve the capability of paraoxonase enzyme, which maintain the HDL function. And flavonoid also inhibit the formation of macrophage LDL induced. And what about effect of flavonoid on cancer? As we know, when normal cell exposed to carcinogenic factors, it will lead to initiation of cancer cell. How flavonoid act, especially from quercetin, genistein, apigenin, it can act directly on ROS trapping and also lower carcinogenesis, and flavonoids can also inhibit cell proliferation signaling pathways by NF-kappa B, MAP kinase, STAT3, PI3 kinase, and also mTOR. And this is the effect of flavonoid on nitric oxide production. Actually, we also need nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is type of free radical that can also be useful for our body function. It can be used for vasodilatation, but when in inflammation condition, it marks its production, especially for the production from inducible nitric oxide synthase, and this will lead to the production in abundance for the nitric oxide and will lead to damaged tissues. How about the effect of flavonoids on suppressing the NF-kappa B signaling pathway? Actually, NF-kappa B signaling pathway in normal condition, it will be suppressed by bound to inhibitory kappa B alpha. And when it modulated by oxidative stress or carcinogenic factors, carcinogens, it will be degraded and will become active by made complex of P65 and P50 or 52, and then this will move to nucleus and induce the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines such as tumor necrosis factor alpha, interleukin 6, cyclooxygenase 2, and so on. How about the study in human? The study in human, I will give you an example from tomato. Tomato is rich in lycopene type of flavonoid that also powerful. This study showed that tomato juice consumption for in one day for the dose 330 milliliters per day, it is equal provide to 37 milligram lycopene for around 20 days in 104 participants or subjects will lower TNF alpha and interleukin 8 in intervention group compared to baseline and also control group. For the detailed result, we can see that for the combined obese and overweight group, we compare the intervention and control group. The interleukin 8 is lower on the intervention group, and for the overweight, the subject is quite a big number. It lower the interleukin 8 and also tumor necrosis factor alpha. For the obese, only interleukin 6 lower in intervention group compared to control group. And this is a friendly reminder for you. Flavonoid in our surrounding. There are tea, coffee, cocoa, and also fruits we can get from tomato, watermelon, berries, lemon, citrus, and from vegetables we can get from celery, carrot, broccoli, and so on. And then from legumes and nuts, we get from soybean and soy product that will also many types in Indonesia, very various product in Indonesia from the soybean products. And for the conclusion, there are two types of inflammations, acute and also chronic. And low-grade chronic inflammation is prolonged inflammatory response caused by non-physical injury mainly. We discuss here from the diet. And there are many classes of flavonoid. There are flavones, flavonols, flavonones, catechins, anthocyanidins, and also isoflavones. For the flavonoid role in reducing inflammation, we can see that flavonoid can lower lymphocyte immobilizations, increase iron chelations, inhibit nitric oxide productions, and suppress the NF-kappa B signaling pathway. That means lower pro-inflammatory cytokines productions, and also inhibit ROS production, reactive oxygen species, and also carcinogenesis. And the last one is inhibit LDL oxidation directly. Thank you. I'm done, Bu Firly.
Okay, thank you, Bu Aim, Miss Aim. Your informative presentation, very interesting about flavonoid and immunity. I may conclude that flavonoid have some beneficial on health as anti-inflammatory and anti-allergenic, reduce free radical, and it has specific molecular target that Ms. Aim has explained to us. And also, it can reduce the risk of non-communicable disease like cardiovascular disease and cancer. And then Miss Ayim has showed the a journal about tomato juice for 20 days that may lower TNF alpha that showed lower risk of inflammation. And then Miss Ayim also explained the source of flavonoid that we can find on our daily diet as well. Thank you. And then now, because this is because all of the speaker has done their presentation, now we come to the Q&A session. First, we have 3 or 4 questions. So many questions, but I have chosen for Prof. Amu, Dr. Mahen, and Ms. Ayim to answer about 3 or 4 questions. Can we start our Q&A session now?
Yes,
Prof.
please.
Amu, Dr. Mahen, and Ms. Ayim. Okay.
Sure.
First, we have Alpha Rabita. The first question is for Prof. Amu, but maybe some question Dr. Mahen and Ms. Ayim would add the answer that is allowed. First, we have Alpha Rabita, student of Poltekkes Bogor. She asked about, is that all kind of palm oil contain tocotrienol, and is that can be reduced by heating process while cooking? And how much should we have to take tocotrienols to fulfill the needs for a day to boost our immune?
Okay.
This is the first question.
First question, okay, fine. The crude palm oil contains about 1% palm phytonutrient. Out of that, the majority is about 70% is tocotrienol. So yes, through the processing, when we refine, we will lose some of the vitamin E, but not all. So even the cooking oil has got some level of vitamin E. Exactly how much, I can't tell you. The red palm oil is actually a very rich source of vitamin E and vitamin A. Your second question, that's about, do you lose it when you cook? Actually, you don't lose it when you cook. I don't think anybody has looked at it, but if you use palm oil, you can cook, you can actually use it for a prolonged period of time without the oil getting rancid. So which suggests that the antioxidants are actually working. Because if you use other oils, you can cook it for a while, and then you see the oil become macam busuk. It's not very good. But with the palm oil, we've noticed it actually is, you can use it for a long time. And we've actually done some research, which is not published yet, about reusing the cooked palm oil. So the results, I can't share with you at this point. How much you should take? I've spoken to Professor Yuan from University of Science Malaysia. He works on tocotrienol and brain injury. So anything from between minimum is 200 milligrams to 400 milligrams. I think the tocotrienol rich fraction has been given the generally regarded as safe by the FDA in US. So between 200 to 400 milligrams per day. And you should take it with your food.
Okay, so 200 to 400 milligram is safe, yeah, Prof. Amu.
Yes.
Okay, still related to that question, we have Linda Rizky from Karawang. She asked about which one effective, vitamin E single used or together with vitamin C to reduce or to treat cancer or reduce the risk of cancer.
Okay, so I haven't worked on vitamin C, but vitamin C, okay, vitamin E is different because vitamin E is a lipid soluble vitamin. Vitamin C is water soluble. So I don't see any problem in both of them being synergistic, but I have not worked on those two together. So I don't think it's a problem. So vitamin C is water soluble, so it will, and vitamin E is lipid soluble. Maybe Mahin, you want to say anything?
Yeah. You see, when you take a combination, you take from fruits and vegetable, you take combination. It's not a problem. You can take it. Body, as Prof said, yeah, the moment you go inside our body system, body recognize and it works together for that. So when we talk about, when a nutritionist or dietitian talks about vitamin micronutrients, we always emphasize on fruits and vegetables. That's where the main vitamin and mineral comes in our system, not by taking supplement per se. But if, let's say, you require, that is based on medical condition. Discuss with the doctors and discuss with the dietitian, and then you follow with it. Fat soluble, like what vitamin E, it may remain in the body system for a longer period compared to vitamin C, because it's a water soluble, it flush off fast and everything. So vitamin E, you may have, Prof. Amu said, FDA they have supplement form, and FDA need that kind of upper level and lower level, so they have upper level for that. So I don't think so anybody will take more than what's supposed to be required. Nobody is drinking cooking oil, so no need to worry about that.
Yeah.
And if I say carotenoid oil, like what Prof. Amu said, the rich factor, the rich, what do you call, palm oil?
Red palm oil.
Red palm oil.
That is carotenoid oil. Malaysia, we sell in the red color, in the carotenoid oil, they call it. Very rich, very high in vitamin E, yeah? So, and also vitamin A. So it helps in the body system. But I don't think so anybody take 1 cup per day for that. Don't take it's in the cooking, we are consuming it, so I don't think so any issues on that. If, let's say, so much of issue, we probably already gone with many things. We are not. God is kind, and body knows how to react with it.
So it depends on our requirement, yeah,
Yes.
Dr. Mahen and Prof. Amu, to take vitamin E and vitamin C from daily diet. Yeah. Okay. Turn to Dr. Mahen. We have Rahayu Indiasari from Universitas Hasanuddin, Makassar. The question is, what is the positive effect of prebiotic and probiotic similar to all age? Is it similar to all age group? Is there any evidence in elderly and small children?
Very good question. Far away, Makassar, never been there. Jakarta, only been there. Okay, very interesting. She asked first thing is it the lifespan? Yeah, I mean, probiotic can help in the younger groups and the older groups. Definitely, yes. I would say that yes. How much to take? It all depends on body. And as you go in the cultured milk that available, as a practicing nutritionist, we don't mention brands, like company brands, we don't mention, but it's available in Indonesia, Malaysia, and many parts of the world. And you take in the drink form, like Dade. Dade is yogurt.
Yogurt.
Yogurt have a role, but it may not meet the probiotic cutoff point. 10 power of 6 may not there, and the specific strain may not been identified. So if you take cultured or fermented food, like Indonesia, Firla was mentioning about fermented milk, fermented food in Indonesia or Malaysia,
Tempeh.
All of it have no problem. You can take food, that is food. So if you take in a tablet form, that is a problem, because we are not sure what is inside there, how much is inside there. So they must declare it, and you must study. Because, like, simple example, you take 10 orange you eat, compared to take 10 tablets of vitamin C. You try and see, you will have many problems if you take 10 tablets of vitamin C at one go. But if you take 10 oranges at one go, the only problem, you'll go to the toilet, because it's a gut system, the fiber there, and you get a loose stools only. Otherwise, you wouldn't have any problem. So to me, for the question, it's a very good question. Any young age can take, older age can take probiotics at any point, no problem.
Okay. And then We have a question from Dewi in Surabaya to Miss Aimatul Fauzia. Miss Aim, the question is how much should we consume food rich of flavonoid in daily diet? Maybe Miss Aim could answer the question. Thank you. Hello, Miss Aim. Please unmute. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Bu Firly. How much we should consume? It depends on the types of flavonoid that you consume. And I already give you an example today, especially from tomato. To three, 330 milliliters tomato per day can lower our inflammatory markers in systemic inflammations. It equal to 37 milligram of lycopene. And for the tea, we also need research to understand how much we should consume. Usually, for the coffee and tea, we ideally consume for around 2 cups per day. It enough flavonoids from the coffee and also the tea.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah. If I could add up what I'm said, yeah, very interestingly, and she put that flavonoids and phytochemicals, phytonutrients. I wanted to add it up a little bit. Why don't you add the probiotic together so you get 2 in 1 or 3 in 1? Take one of the teaspoon of the red palm oil, you put it together. You got 3 combination at one go. So it's a salad based
combo, right, Dr. Mahen?
Yeah.
Combo has the best effect. Thank you, Dr. Mahen.
Maybe we should develop the research together.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And then maybe the last for 3 of the speakers, because it's common question. This is from Wahyudin from Sinjai, Sulawesi. The question is how to increase immunity for toddlers. Maybe Prof. Amu, Dr. Mahen, and Ms. Aim would answer this question. Thank you.
And I can start first. Okay.
Yes.
Well, one thing is, when I had my daughter, one of the things I did wrong is to try and keep her away from dirty things. That's actually not a very good thing to do, because if you don't actually expose your child to things, to the world, you're not actually going to develop the immune system. So the immune system needs to be kept busy. Obviously, I'm not telling you throw the child in and into an area where there's lots of infection, but you need to expose so the immune system gets to work, because there is a hypothesis saying that if you don't do that, you want to activate your Th1 arm. If you don't actually do that, your Th2 arm, which is not so good, will be activated. And then the child will get allergy, asthma, all those things. So what I would like to say is, for your toddler, expose them as much as possible so that their immune system can be built. And of course, nutrition, very important. The kind of milk you give your child, make sure the child gets a rest, because a toddler can be very, very active. They need their sleep to build back what they have to. That's one of my suggestions. Maybe Mahin, you want to say something else?
Yes, Prof. When you start with that, when the baby born itself, you are coming out with a lot of bacteria and everything. You need to boost up. You need to start up the immune system from there. And then, like what Prof said, must expose. Environment must be there. You don't put the child in a vacuum system, yeah, everything protected and everything. No, you have to expose. And when you expose to them, expose to all kind of food. So they are being exposed to the food. Children is very, very picky eaters. I have my children until today having hard time. You can't practice nutrition at home. but you have to try. I am trying my level best, but we have to introduce little bit by little bit. But you must put them for fruits and vegetables. Do not think about supplement per se. It is not a way of doing teaching a child. Must teach them the food. I think as a practicing nutrition or dietitian, our job is to educate the child, teach them. Sometimes it's so difficult for us to teach, but we bring somebody else to teach them, educate them, bring them to the clinics and the pusat kesehatan, yeah, where the dietitian interaction there, nutritionist talk to them, expose them, let them learn what is food and what is the important, like what tomato, yeah. People don't know what is tomato. They only know tomato sauce. They only know tomato bottle only. They don't know what is tomato. So the children must know where is the tomato come from. What color is the tomato? Red color. So what red color means, what chemical is coming inside there. I think it's all can be educated from the child. And parents have to play a major role for that. And I guess the Ministry of Health are doing their job, irrespective of Indonesia or Malaysia. I think everywhere they are doing the best for the child. And always must teach them to eat the fruits and vegetables. That's it. I'll leave it to our lady to talk about the phytochemical from tomatoes. I like the presentation so much.
Thank you, Dr. Mahen. Because I'm a nutritionist, of course, to increase the immunity, don't forget to give this toddler a balanced nutrition. And from the seminar, we can also understand that we can also get immunity from the probiotics and also from the bioactive compound, especially from flavonoid, and also exercise, and also from vitamin E, etc. And all of them help to build the good immune system. I think it's like that.
Okay. So Prof. Amu said that do not limit the children so that they will getting stronger and interact the world. And then Dr. Mahen said that we could introduce earlier to the children to healthy food, right? And then natural food better before giving supplement. And Ms. Aim added that we can get from many from the source of from our daily diet to the children, like from grains or yogurt with probiotic and flavonoid, as well from tomato juice, like she has explained. Okay, before we continue our discussion session, we may take a picture once more. Okay, we take one more picture with sign of Bela Negara, salam, yeah, the right hand in front of the chest, and I will count 10 seconds, yeah. Okay, I'll starting now, 10 seconds from now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you.
Thank you.
Macam kira heart rate lah.
Okay, should we continue our discussion?
Yeah. Okay.
I will choose the question first. Wait. Okay. Okay, for the next question.
Can I ask some questions to our tomato phytochemical one?
Okay, please, Dr. Mahen first, maybe.
So let's discuss when you are trying to find something from there. I noticed that our region, yeah, Indonesia, Malaysia, we have a lot of vegetable fruits. Tomato is a vegetable fruits, yeah, around very nice color, green color, yellow color, all kind of colors are there. So is there any studies been done? You show Iran paper. I saw an Iran paper on overweight people and obese people, how that been done. I'm sure there is a local studies. Can you share something on the local studies if you have? I know a lot of studies we don't publish that much. I can understand that. We also, Malaysia also facing same issue because publication is very expensive here nowadays to publish in Q1, Q2 journals and everything. I also take this platform to encourage you all to work together, like with Prof. Amo. She has published so many papers, and I actually learned a lot of things from her. And you can come and publish in the Malaysian Journal of Nutrition. Please come forward and then publish the papers and everything. So with that, one thing is a publication. Another one is I wanted to know on the local phytochemical food base that you all have done it in your hand in Indonesia. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mahen. In Indonesia, actually, there are a researcher that investigate about the function of tomato. They give the tomato supplementation also in the form of juice to cancer patients, and also on the people with metabolic syndrome, especially in IPB University. The researchers were Ibu Evi Damayanti, and also Bu Lili Ustia, and the results show that tomato consumption or intervention can lower the lipid profile, especially small oxidized LDL, and also in on the cyst, ovarian cyst, and the size of the cyst is smaller. Yes, on the cancer patients, or in hospital Dharma is hospital.
So
interesting. Because the tomato contains lycopene, right? Lycopene is a kind of vitamin.
That's true.
Yeah, lycopene. Yeah. Lycopene is also a potent antioxidant.
Yeah, I think very good because in Indonesia there are a lot of food they produce themselves. You know, even avocado, yeah, avocado dipanggil apa?
Yeah.
Bahasa Indonesia?
Alpukat.
Alpukat, yeah, alpukat. They have their own what they call avocado, Prof. And unfortunately I didn't have that opportunity to taste it. When I was in Semarang, University Negeri Semarang, when I passed by, I saw people are selling there and everything. So I think that a lot of potential for us to do work on this kind of bioactive component from the vegetable-based, fruit-based, locally produced. I think it's very interesting area to explore more. I always believe that the fruits and the vegetable grown your own country, I mean, it's native product. That's the best thing to eat compared to the import ones.
Yes, I agree, Dr. Mahen.
Because we need to, not to say economy also, the other hand economy, the other actually aspect is the health and the soil that we are what they call it, the food is produced is very important. I feel that a lot of things we can explore. I mean, IPB, the BOGO, a lot of people do studies on that kind of area.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree. That's why I say if any of you want to work on the different models that we have produced, you know, we're quite happy to work with you.
Certainly, it's not mine.
Okay. Clear? Okay.
Yeah, you have
next. Okay. And we have question for Prof. Amo. Okay. This is from M. Zaino, lecturer from Jember. The question is, do people with autoimmune disease need to limit their intake of immune booster? Is there already an optimal dose with evidence based for human?
Okay, so in autoimmune disease, the situation is different. You want to increase your T regulatory cells. Okay, so having said that, we've done some experiments in an animal model looking at an autoimmune disease called rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, so we've done a collagen-induced rheumatoid arthritis rat model. What we found is supplementation of tocotrienol in that model actually improved the symptoms. That means that there was a reduction of inflammation, because as we mentioned, the tocotrienol has got anti-inflammatory activity. So we did see an improvement. So, but we did not actually look to see whether it's affecting the T regulatory and T helper cells. So at this point, I can't answer that question. About using immune booster. So if the immune booster is acting via a different pathway, that means it is suppressing inflammation, it might be useful. Or it is working by suppressing Th1 response, it will be useful. So for in autoimmune diseases, you want to find substances that can increase T regulatory cells. Because in the literature, if you check, patients with cancer have got high levels of T regulatory cells. Whereas some patients with autoimmune disease, they have got dysfunctional or low levels of T regulatory cells. So it's quite important when you do the research to see how is it impacting these population, the T regulatory and the T helper.
Prof, you done something on ostrich oil, right? It's for the arthritis issue, is it?
Ostrich oil is anti-inflammatory. Yeah, in arthritis model, yes.
Right.
Yeah, but they're asking about immune boosting. So in terms of our animal model, it actually healed. We've actually published the paper last year and few more a few years back. If you're interested, I can share the papers. So you need to check what is it doing to the immune system. If it's just purely anti-inflammatory, it's fine. But if it is suppressing your T regulatory cell, not so good in autoimmune.
Yeah. And the next question to Dr. Mahen. Yeah. We have Eka from Padang. How to take probiotic to patient with diabetic, for example, when they take medicine routinely, maybe it's a probiotic supplement.
Okay. First thing is you are diabetic, you are hypertension, you are cancer patient, any NCD issues here, heart patients, no worries, you can take probiotics, no problem. When to take probiotic? If let's say, probiotic drinks, yeah. I tak nak cakap tapi terpaksa cakap sekarang, macam Yakult.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brand.
In Malaysia. You can take at any point of time. Tetapi must take moderate level. Jangan banyak. Don't take so many bottles. That is not as a normal water. It is actually a drink for a food. So if let's say you take probiotic drinks, yogurt or something, if you follow Indians population, especially the Tamil Nadu, the South Indians people, they take curd rice. They call it yogurt rice. Plain yogurt mixed with white cooked rice, and they mix it up with some onion and everything. When you mix onion, onion is actually a prebiotics,
Probiotics.
Prebiotic. It's a fiber base and helps for the increase inside there. That's how the Indians, Tamil people will eat that. So I would advise daily once you can take that probiotic drinks. No harm. A diabetic patient, any NCD issue, chronic people, they can take. If let's say you are taking the product beverage base, look for low sugar base.
Oh,
because
to limit the sugar intake, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Try to understand, read the label, look for the low sugar. But the thing is, most of the probiotic definitely will have sugar, because if not, the bacteria won't grow. They need the sugar to grow. They need the eating, the food source for that. So that is our product base. If you are taking by food like yogurt, you make your own yogurt, dade, makan, like salad and everything, you can eat it, no problem. Twice a day, no problem. Because it's a food. I always go for food. But you are taking a sachet form, powder form, pill form, please follow the instruction properly. I would advise look for the dietitians and nutritionists to get proper advice first, and then talk to the doctors as well.
Okay, so it is safe, yeah.
Yes.
From food.
Okay,
next. Yeah.
May I discuss with Dr. Mahen?
Yeah.
About probiotics.
Please.
I want to ask about, is it mandatory to consume probiotics every day? And what do you think about the consequences if we don't consume it on daily basis? And how to manage if we don't have probiotics, and what should we do to get the enough good bacteria in our gut system?
Okay. You eat probiotics food daily, you can take. If you don't take daily, not all the bacteria inside your gut system akan mati, tidak. Body akan buat, dia masih lagi mempunyai microorganism, the good bacteria and bad bacteria will be there, remain there.
So naturally exist,
is existed in the body. That's why I said we born with the bacteria and we will die with the bacteria also. We cannot run away. So the good bacteria you need to maintain. If it is not balanced here, it's like, let's put a rough figure. I put it 85% good bacteria, 25% is bad bacteria. If this thing is not under neraca, ya, apa ni, timbang tara tu, dacing tu. If that it is not been balanced, it is not going to give you a confer benefit to you. So we have to maintain it. So you can take daily. If you don't take, kalau you skip 1 day, 2 days is fine. But if you make it as a habit for every day, you will definitely see the benefit within 1 month, 2 months time. You can see the benefit ready. You mind you, bukan today I makan probiotic today, tomorrow I will get the benefit. No, it doesn't work like that. Kalau work like that, is actually drugs. It's a steroid based. It is not food based. Kalau makan tomato today, tomorrow you get lycopene. No, you must maintain every day. Then only the antioxidant boost up.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mahen.
No problem.
Okay. Enough, Bu Aim?
Yes.
Okay, enough, Miss Aim, yeah. Okay, the last one, question for, this is from Tia. The question is, could the heating of rich flavonoid foods like from coffee, tea, could reduce the effect of flavonoid to health? Please, Bu Aim.
Okay, the flavonoid generally is stable to heat. I can say that, but when the heat is too much, more than 100 degrees Celsius, and in a prolonged condition, means you cook the flavonoid in a long term, yes, it will also reduce the content of flavonoid.
So how to keep it effective, not to heat it?
Many types of flavonoids are stable on the heating, but when it is in a long term, it will destroy the flavonoid.
So it doesn't matter if we heat it because it's stable, right? With the heat. Okay, thank you, Miss Aim. That's all for discussion today. May I conclude that today we have learned from the expert. Thank you, Prof. Amu, Dr. Mahen, and Miss Aim. So our speaker has explained about natural substances from tocotrienols, probiotic, and flavonoid, part of micronutrient. And then they have many health benefits to maintain our health, like increase the immunity, immune response, and prevent from inflammation as antioxidant that may lowering the risk of non-communicable disease, infection as well. And we might find them on our daily diet, from palm oil that rich on tocotrienols, grains, fermented food, rich of probiotics, local food that we can take daily on daily diet. Like Indonesia, we have tempeh that we often eat every day, and then we must combine to our diet with food that rich of that natural substances and to fulfill adequate intake of our nutrition need. Thank you for all the speakers. Finally, we come to the end of our webinars. Thank you all the participants from the academy colleague, students of nutrition program study, and then thank you for the all committee. And see you on the next webinar. I apologize if there is any mistakes, and I give back to the host. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much for all of the speakers and moderator to lead us to a great discussion. From these seminars, we can highlight the result of the discussion that I highlight that how to improve the immunity system. We have to take a good nutrition and healthy eating habits, plus regular sports or exercise and sleep efficiency. It's a highlight of our discussion today, as I said. And today, nowadays, we are reached the end of the seminars, and I would like to express my gratitude to all of the speakers, the committee, and also the participants who have participated actively in the seminars. I hope we get the benefit and knowledge as much as possible we can get. And I would like to remind you that don't forget to follow our Instagram at gizi.upntj to get your certificate and get more information about next seminars. And I would like to inform you that the certificate will be available about 2 weeks. Now, I would like to resign. Thank you very much for your attention. Always stay safe, stay at home, stay healthy, and see you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Rajin berolahraga, jaga berat badan, itulah 4 pilar gizi seimbang. Bangsaku sehat berprestasi. Tahukah kamu, kekurangan gizi itu tak baik, tak baik. Tubuh kita mudah terserang berbagai macam penyakit. Protein, karbohidrat, vitamin, mineral, lengkapi gizi keluarga kita. Jagalah lingkungan bersih, aman dan sehat untuk kita semua. Ayo kita makan yang beragam, membiasakan perilaku hidup sehat, rajin berolahraga, jaga berat badan. Itulah 4 pilar gizi seimbang. Bangsaku sehat berprestasi. Ya ayo kita makan yang beragam, membiasakan perilaku hidup sehat, rajin berolahraga, jaga berat badan. Itulah 4 pilar gizi seimbang. Bangsaku sehat berprestasi. Bangsaku sehat berprestasi.
Thank you.